welcome to This Is. Matt, we have a very special occasion to make a video today.
What is that special occasion to make a video today?
So I spent quality time with the Xbox Series X. Matt, what do you want to know?
First of all, you actually held it. It's real, it's in your hands.
It's a real console. I have footage that we very helpfully show on screen right now of me using the console, using the controller. Obviously, it's not final yet. There's still some tweaks, but I got about as good of a look as we're going to get until this thing goes on sale later this year.
There is a mystery little slot in the back.
Expansion. So, on the back of the Series X, there is a port which will essentially allow you to expand the storage via what looks like a memory card. However, it is actually an external SSD, which is identical to the SSD inside the Series X. The way this works is Series X games all are designed to work on an SSD. So while you can plug in like a standard USB 3.0 hard drive and it will work, but it will only work for your old Xbox One games.
So if I want to play like an Xbox, like I got Halo on Xbox One.
Yeah, you can unplug your USB hard drive, plug it directly into the Series X. That works fine. Backwards compatibility is great. However, if you want to install a new Series X game and you fill up your 1 terabyte hard drive on your Series X, then you will want to buy one of these expansion modules, which just clips right in the back. It literally looks like a memory card, and then you get the extra storage with the exact same speed.
It reminds me so much of just cartridges of like the N64, you know, just whoop, you know, because it's so much faster just to integrate it into the system than it is to do like USB.
There were a lot of rumors beforehand because it's kind of vaguely leaked because there's a still of the back of the Series X that leaked a little bit ago, but it's not labeled. And a lot of people are like, oh, are they gonna like, can you like buy games on the memory cards? No.
I remember people were thinking like, is that PCIe?
Well, it's a custom like slot.
Yeah.
But technically it's taking advantage of PCI 4.0. So it's cool. I feel like right now they've only announced a 1 terabyte model, but
I mean, I feel like a 1 terabyte PCIe 4, like it's gonna be pricey. With next generation consoles like this, the games just keep getting astronomically bigger.
So something I didn't get into in the main channel video, just because there's so much stuff that we had to cover, is that the SSDs can actually compress files. So theoretically, even though obviously the assets and everything will be bigger, you might not actually have that much larger of game sizes. We'll see, but theoretically.
So like it would be like similar to like the one,
I don't know.
Okay.
But they will be able to compress somewhat. Also, I know like some old Xbox One games and PS4 games, they would actually have data duplicated because of the way that a hard drive would spin.
Yeah,
you'd have like multiple copies.
And they also said that if you have a 1X game that's also on Series X on a drive, when you plug it in, it'll notify you that if you want to use the Series X version of that, you have to re-download it.
At a base level, the Xbox Series X is essentially a drop-in upgrade for the Xbox One. Not only does it use like the same like figure 8 cable and HDMI and all that kind of stuff, but the games that you can play on the Xbox One, so it's like original Xbox 360 and Xbox One, there may be some very, very weird edge cases like Kinect games, or like maybe they're like, there's the off chance that a couple games might not make it, but generally speaking, it's a drop-in upgrade. Because the Series X needs that SSD speed, if you had a game, you would need to re-download it, but then they're not done with it yet. I don't know.
And
right, that's the way
right now, the only thing that we really have confirmed that are going to do that is like Cyberpunk and Halo Infinite.
Yeah,
you know, like
I have a lot of questions. Some of this stuff I don't think is done yet.
And
I think they haven't even decided how
they're
going to do this.
In the hands of the developer. Right. It's great that Microsoft has given us the tools, and you know, it's something that's available day one for developers.
Yeah.
But how many will actually take advantage of that?
So if you remember when we went from Xbox One to One X, a lot of games got an Xbox One X patch. I wouldn't be surprised if some Xbox One games will also get a Series X patch. The way that it works from an Xbox point of view is that when you click on a game, if it's an Xbox One game, it loads. If it's optimized for One X, it loads. If it's optimized for Series X, it loads. Like, for you as a gamer, you don't really need to worry about most of this stuff. Yeah, it might ask you to download something or update something or whatever, cool. But like, generally speaking, Xbox games work, period. And I think that's a real selling point of the backwards compatibility. Because one of the things that's really jumped out to me about this generation is that it feels like the very first time they were actually seeing real like fusion software-wise. I think the Series X is very similar to the Xbox One. Not a bad thing. But when you look at what we had with like the mid-cycle updates with like the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, we're starting to see this thing where consoles aren't just like PS2, PS3, PS4. Now we're just like PS4, Pro, 5. You know, like it's all turning into one
2,
evolution.
2.5, 3, like.
Yeah. So there are many improvements that I didn't really get a chance to go into in the main video to latency on the Xbox Series X. Everything from the controller to this display to the way that the game engine is able to, or not the game engine, but the actual OS level is able to consider, hey, how long does it take for me to press the button? How long does that take to get to the console? How long does the console get to actually process that frame and render it?
Right.
All of that stuff is very important for a game developer who's trying to optimize their game. They have a very quick end-to-end look at like, oh, it was 33 milliseconds that time. Sweet, we hit our render budget. Alternatively, all of that extra work that they put into making the latency as low as possible is very much important when it comes to cloud gaming. Where if you have all that stuff built into the hardware, cool, you just saved yourself like 5 milliseconds or whatever the case is. So that's definitely something that they're thinking about going forward.
At what point do we say the console is no longer...
Are you about to hit me with cloud gaming right now?
Yes and no. Yes and no. At what point, we're putting out these blurred generations of, buying hardware every couple of years. At what point does it like become more cost effective for like Xbox,
xCloud or something?
To like put these resources in xCloud? Because a lot of the things that I feel like they've updated are still handicaps of having the physical console. Like, yeah, it's awesome to have the SSD that fast, but you're still gonna have to download, a 100 gig game. That's one of the huge benefits of cloud gaming is,
it's pretty much instant.
It's instant.
Also, Austin, this could kind of theoretically replace demos, because imagine you want to try a game before you buy it. They could let you play it for 30 minutes on the xCloud version. Try it out before you decide to download a 100 gig game.
That's a great point, actually.
That's a Xbox. Hire Jimmy.
No, please don't. So yes, I think xCloud has a future. I think Microsoft is quite heavily investing in cloud services. And you imagine, like to Jimmy's point, if you want to stream a demo from an xCloud server to your Series X to play really quick, you could do that. Or you could play on your phone or wherever you want to do it. Or imagine playing Series X games on an Xbox One or something. Right? Like all that is possible with cloud gaming.
They want to get into other countries. I think it's Brazil. Game consoles are still obscenely expensive. So they're like generations behind. Everyone has a smartphone though, so all you need is the xCloud app, and suddenly you're playing Xbox games over there. And that's a new way for them to make a lot of money.
With that point, in Brazil, they are still actually manufacturing Sega Genesises. Like to this day, they're updated ones that actually have internet connectivity, and you can actually play multiplayer online with Sega Genesis.
I get that. Like you pretty much need to build it in Brazil or you pay a lot of money. The gist of it really for me is that this feels like the beginning of the end of generations, right? There will still be a hard cut, right? Like for the Series X, right? There are a lot of things that the Series X can do that the Xbox One can't. Then it makes sense to not call this the Xbox One X2 or something, right? Like CPU totally different, GPU is much more powerful, SSDs, there's a lot.
Completely different architecture.
Yes. But at its core, it's actually not a different architecture because it's still AMD 64 based. It's very similar to a PC. And in fact, we have been able to build PCs which have somewhat similar specs for a little while now. As we go forward, I think that not only will backwards compatibility pretty much be priced in, but so much of the console generations will be just continuing to improve on the technology out there. And in a lot of ways, Microsoft, and I'm sure Sony will do the same thing, are using consoles to set the pace for what are we going to focus on for the next 5 to 10 years of gaming, right? So obviously ray tracing has been around on PC for a bit, but now that's going to be in every single PS5 and every single Xbox Series X. It's going to become the standard. You're going to have ray tracing or your game's going to look old. And the fact is that when you look at this generation, so much is the same and yet so much is upgraded that I feel like we're really going to start seeing this sort of, not a rapid pace, like I don't think we're going to see a new console every 6 months or a year like we do on the phone side. Are you going to buy a Series X?
I probably will. Like, I don't think I'll buy it day one.
We don't even know how much it is.
Right. I mean, yeah, like I say price aside, if it's truly a 1-to-1, like I'm going to get, the same experience on an Xbox One, but just better with a Series X.
Yep.
I'm personally more inclined to maybe say get a discounted One X. As of today, Xbox is selling the One X for $299, which is a
very
hell
good
of a
deal.
deal.
Very good deal.
I would prefer to have something like the One X, and then when I'm ready for maybe the Series Y, which will be their slightly,
lower end or higher end,
whatever
they decide
the slightly
to do.
tweaked one, but inevitably will have a price drop.
I think it's reasonable to consider One X. I would say though, I would not buy an Xbox until at least E3 because I feel like E3 will probably have a good sense of like, is this thing $499 or $599 or potentially even more? I don't think it's going to be anything insane.
I think $599 is a really comfortable number for something with
it's
this
expensive.
The Xbox basically lost this generation by being $500 and forcing you to buy it with the Kinect. I feel like Microsoft is stepping far away as possible from that number, just like Sony did coming off of the PS3 being $600. And I think Microsoft would do whatever they have to do to get this thing to be $450.
Whoa, Jimmy, you think 450?
450?
Think about it. Like 500 is the realistic number, but they're just gonna. They were a meme factory at the beginning of this generation because of the fact that it was $500.
But on the flip side, Jimmy, think about this. When you looked at the Xbox One and even the PS4, so let's actually take PS4 for example, because PS4 was cheaper and more powerful. If you look at the Xbox One X, or sorry, the Xbox Series X, even at $600, Jimmy, it's $600. That is on par with what I would argue is a PC of probably $1,000 at least. Like it is significantly better than anything you're getting at $600. If they're able to get that down to $500, I'll be very impressed. And if it's less than $500, that's crazy.
I'm saying $599.
I think I'm gonna go with you on $599. I think I'm torn between $499 and $599, but I think $599
because I don't like comparing Xbox to Sony when it comes to the pricing like this. Because it's not Xbox versus Sony, it's Microsoft versus Sony. And Microsoft, like, look at every piece of their hardware is about 15% too expensive. Like, look at the Surface. Not
on Xbox. Not on Xbox.
But
Get out of here.
It's still the same. It's the same culture. The corporate culture is premium hardware, and they put a premium price tag on it. I'm saying I'm staying with my $599.
I think you're right. I'm gonna go $499 though. What do you guys think about the Xbox Series X? And more importantly, let us know. Do you have any more questions about what we were able to try, or I guess what Jimmy and I were able to try? Sorry, Matt. If you enjoyed, definitely be sure to subscribe to This Is here on YouTube.
And let us know on Twitter at ThisIsGuys. You know, any questions you might have, we'll answer them for you the best we can. Let me know, because I run the Twitter. Ken does not run the Twitter, unlike what everyone thinks. And also, Austin doesn't run the Twitter.
Yeah, people always think I'm responding to myself.
Yeah. I mean, he would, because he's that dumb. But let us know. Subscribe. Follow. Do all the things. We'll see you next time.
Matt, why?